So today we're going to be discussing Lesson 6 in Chapter 1, Solve Proportional Relationships. The essential question is, how can you show that two objects are proportional? Vocabulary is proportion and cross products. This is located in your math book on page 55. Let's begin with the real-world link. Fruit smoothies. Katie and some friends want to buy fruit smoothies. They go to a health food store that advertises a sale of 2 fruit smoothies for $5. Number 1. Fill in the boxes to write a ratio that compares the cost to the number of fruit smoothies. Well, the dollar amount is $5 for 2 smoothies. Number 2. Suppose Katie and her friends buy 6 fruit smoothies. Complete the ratio that compares the cost to the number of fruit smoothies. Well, if I take my information from before, it is $5 for 2 smoothies. In order to get from 2 to 6, we multiply that by 3. And we have to do the same thing to the numerator. 5 times 3 is 15. So that means that if they want to buy 6 fruit smoothies, that'll cost $15. So number 3, is the cost proportional to the number of fruit smoothies for 2 and 6 smoothies? And explain. So yes. 5 halves equals 2 and 5 tenths. And 15 sixths equals 2 and 5 tenths. So since the ratio have the same value, the cost is proportional to the number of smoothies. Let's continue. We are now on page 56. Key concept: write and solve proportions. So a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent. So that is one of our vocabulary words. So if we have the number 6/8 equals 3/4, 6/8 equals 3/4. That's reduced down. Then for algebra, that's saying A divided by B equals C divided by D. With this algebra, and it's saying B cannot equal 0 and D cannot equal 0, that is referring to your denominators B and D. You can't ever divide by 0 for denominators. Otherwise, it's not possible. All right, so consider the following proportion. A divided by B equals C divided by D. So we're going to multiply each side by BD and divide out common factors. So when we're doing that, this B in the numerator and that B in the denominator simplify down to 1 on the left side. And we multiply by BD on the right side, the D's simplify to 1. So you're left with AD equals BC through simplifying. The products AD and BC are called the cross products of this proportion. The cross products of any proportion are equal. So in this case, we're taking 6 times 4, which they put in the denominator, that equals 24. 8 times 3, they put in the numerator, and that equals 24. 24 divided by 24 is 1. So let's take a look at an example. Number 1. After 2 hours, the air temperature has risen 7 degrees Fahrenheit. Write and solve a proportion to find the amount of time it will take at this rate for the temperature to rise an additional 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Write a proportion. Let T represent the time in hours. So when setting this up, we have temperature in the numerator, which is 7, and time in the denominator, which is 2. So we put the temperature in the numerator on the right side and time in the denominator on the right side as well. So we do the cross products. 7 times 2, my apologies, 7 times T, which I put on the left side, 7 times T, and then 2 times 13, which I put on the right side. So we're finding the cross products. Next we have it simplified to 7T equals 26. Now we're going to divide both sides by 7, and we get T is approximately 3 5/10 hours. So it'll take about 3 7/10 hours to raise an additional 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Got it? Let's do these problems to find out. Solve each proportion. So I'm going to show my work for letter A below. X divided by 4 equals 9 divided by 10. So I'm going to do my cross products. I'm going to multiply x times 4, and then I'll multiply 4 times 9. So x times 10 equals 4 times 9. X times 10 becomes 10x, equals 4 times 9 becomes 36. I want to get my variable x by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 10. And I get x equals 3 6/10. So I'm going to put that up at the top. 3 6/10. All right, letter B. 2 divided by 34 equals 5 divided by y. I'm going to do my cross products. 2 times y, and then 34 times 5. Ooh, and change that color. 2 times y equals 34 times 5. So this gives me 2y. I'm not sure what 34 times 5 is, so I'm going to show that off to the side. 34 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. This is 0 down there. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17. So that equals 170. I want the y by itself, so I divide both sides by 2. And I get y equals 170 divided by 2. 2 can't go into 1. 2 can go into 17 8 times. So I'm going to subtract 16. So bring down that 0. 2 can go into 10 5 times. Subtract that. So y equals 85. All right, letter C. 7/3 equals n divided by 21. I'm going to show you guys another way, instead of using a highlighter, of showing cross multiplying. 7 times 21, and then 3 times n. So 7 times 21 equals 3 times n. The reason for showing that is so then that way you can see how I'm doing the cross products. So 7 times 21, I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to do 21 times 7 off to the side. That's 7, 14, so that is 147 equals 3n. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Again, I don't know what 147 divided by 3 is, so I'm going to show the work to the side. 3 cannot go into 1, 3 can go into 14, 4 times, subtracting 12, 14 minus 12 is 2. Bring down the 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times. Subtract 27, that's 0. So 49 equals n. Let's put our variable on the left side. N equals 49. And put that over for letter C. Let's continue. Example 2. If the ratio of type O to non-type O donors at a blood drive was 37 to 43, how many donors would be type O out of 300 donors? So type O donors is in the numerator, and the total owners are in the denominator. It tells us in our ratio, 37 are the type O. In order to find the total, we have to take 37 plus 43. So when you simplify that, that becomes 30 over 80. So we're going to write a proportion and let T represent the number of type O donors. So type O donors, that's how we got the 37 divided by 80. Then in order to find out from total donors from 80 to 300, we take T and divide it by 300. So now we're going to do the cross multiplying. 37 times 300, 80 times T. 37 times 300 becomes 11,100. 80 times T simplifies down to 80T. Then we divide both sides by 80. 138 and 75 hundredths equals T because we simplified. To answer the question, there would be about 139 type O donors. Do you got it? Let's do this problem to find out. So for letter D, the ratio of 7th grade students to 8th grade students in the soccer league is 17 to 23. If there are 200 students in all, how many are in the 7th grade? So I'm going to look at the previous problem to help me set this up. So I want my 7th grade. Sorry about that. All right, if I want my 7th grade over my total, that's my ratio that I want to set up. So 7th grade, there are 17. My total is going to be 17 plus 23. So that simplifies to 17 divided by 40, because 23 plus 17 is 40. So I'm going to take my 17 40ths, and I want it to equal a total of 200. So I'm not sure how many are in 7th grade, so I'm going to put an X in my numerator. You can choose whatever variable you want in this type of problem. It does not specify. So then I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. I'm going to do 17 times 200 equals 40 times X. So 17 times 200 equals 40 times X. Seventeen times 200 is 3,400, and that equals 40x. I'm going to divide both sides by 40, and that gives me 85 equals x. So to answer the question, if there are 200 students in all, how many are in the 7th grade? 85 students are in the 7th grade. Let's continue. Use unit rate. You can also use the unit rate to write an equation expressing the relationship between two proportional quantities. Examples. Number 3. Olivia bought 6 containers of yogurt for $7.68. Write an equation relating the cost C to the number of yogurts Y. How much would Olivia pay for 10 yogurts at the same rate? So find the unit rate between cost and containers of yogurt. In the numerator, we have cost in dollars. In the denominator, we have containers of yogurt. So according to our word problem, 6 containers of yogurt are $7.68. When we go and take that and simplify it, that becomes $1.28 per container. So that's the unit cost. The cost is $1.28 times the number of containers of yogurt. So the cost equals $1.28 times Y, because Y represents the number of yogurts. Then we have $1.28 times 10, because the problem is saying for 10 yogurts. $1.28 times 10 gives you $12.80. So the cost for 10 containers of yogurt is $12.80. Let's continue. Number 4. JC bought 8 gallons of gas for $31.12. Write an equation relating the cost C to the number of gallons G of gas. How much would JC pay for 11 gallons at the same rate? So first, you need to find the unit rate between cost and gallons. So you have cost in dollars divided by gallons, gasoline in gallons. Above in the problem, it says 8 gallons of gas for $31.12. So $31.12 divided by 8. You divide those and you get $3.80 per gallon. So the cost is $3.89 times the number of gallons. So in this case, we're going to put a G representing the number of gallons. The problem says that we want to know how much for 11 gallons. So $3.89 times 11 gives you $42.79. So the cost of 11 gallons of gas is $42.79. Let's go and stop and reflect. Consider the proportion 6 divided by B equals C divided by 7. What is true about BC? Well, if I were to cross multiply, B times C equals 6 times 7. BC equals 42. So what is true about BC? BC equals 42. Let's continue. Got it? Let's check it. Do this problem to find out. Letter E. Olivia typed 2 pages in 15 minutes. Write an equation relating the number of minutes M to the number of pages P typed. So we're going to write an equation relating the number of minutes M to the number of pages P typed. So minutes to pages. So it has been 15 minutes divided by 2 pages. I want to find a unit rate. So I have to divide the denominator by 2. Whatever I do the denominator, I have to do the numerator. So for 1 page typed, it takes Olivia 7.5 minutes. Now we're going to use that information to figure out how long it'll take her to type 10 pages at this rate. So I want to go from 1 page to 10 pages. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 10. Whatever I do to the denominator, I'm going to do to the numerator, multiplying by 10. 7.5 times 10 gives me 75 minutes. To answer the question, how long will it take her to type 10 pages at this rate? It will take Olivia 75 minutes. Let's continue. Now it is time for you to go on and work on your assignment.